Ever since he came into our lives, he became one of the family. But now he's gone. With Fond Recollections memorial plaques and website, we can upload all our photos and videos of him. Visit fondrecollection.com today and cherish the happy memories of your loved ones.
Chapter 17. We care for each other. Scotty Allen looked unhappy as he sat down and ordered his usual coffee and bagel. He had a feeling that the pretty black server was looking at him pityingly. But the moment he looked up again to take a better look, she was gone. Scotty thought he was losing his mind. Ever since Nicole had warned him about the network of rats working against him at the hospital, he was growing increasingly paranoid about the people who surrounded him. The pretty server, Anne-Marie, came back with his order.
"Here's your coffee and your bagel, Scotty,"
she said, extra politely.
"I brewed it up specially just for you, and I smeared the bagel with extra cream cheese on the house."
Anne-Marie placed his plates lightly on the table in front of him, smiling brightly, and then sauntered off. Scotty was puzzled by this behavior. He eats at the same time at the cafeteria every single day, yet never had he received special treatment before today. Puzzled, Scotty continued eating when suddenly Johnny Thomas showed up out of nowhere. Dressed in his usual flamboyant attire, Johnny was wearing tight purple medical uniform scrubs with sparkly ornamented Crocs. Johnny hated how bland and colorless the kitchen scrubs were, so he always added his own flair to the starkness of the uniform. He had to cover his brightly dyed hair with a hairnet, so he often tinted his hair to contrast the boring colors of the hairnet. This week, he had tinted his hair neon blue, a bright luminescent shade that contrasted against his boring black hairnet.
"Good morning, Scotty. May I have a word with you privately, please?"
Scotty warily looked up at Johnny, who was a notorious gossip, wondering if he should indulge. Curiosity got the best of him, and he wanted to know what this was about. Johnny could give him some insight into the forces that were at play here, working against him in the darkness.
"Sure, I guess,"
Scotty mumbled, not sure where this was going.
"Follow me, then,"
Johnny said, picking up Scotty's breakfast tray and walking over to a dimly lit booth at the back of the cafeteria. Scotty was hesitant, but then reluctantly made his way to the back of the room. As both men sat down, Johnny Thomas began to inform Scotty Allen about the clandestine investigation. Scotty was interested in what Johnny had to say, and Johnny started to immediately disclose information on what he had heard about the situation. Taking their respective places at the dark corner booth in the cafeteria, Johnny told the story of what he had overheard about Scotty and shared the nature of the CEO and security director's clandestine meeting about him. He told Scotty that they were conducting a covert investigation on him, trying to dig up the tiniest bit of dirt so they could sully his impeccable reputation and have him kicked out of the hospital.
"Scotty, I know this might sound weird, but I swear I heard the CEO and the security director talking directly about the investigation. I was so shocked when I heard. Do you have any idea why they would want to investigate you, honey?"
Johnny asked softly, genuinely concerned. Scotty Allen was taken aback by Johnny's information, which admittedly was more surprising than Johnny calling him honey. It felt weird, and Scotty was not homophobic at all. He just felt that this sort of vernacular was not suitable for a professional environment. Scotty felt as though he needed to set some boundaries with Johnny going forward because he did not want other coworkers to feel uncomfortable. Scotty replied calmly,
"Johnny, kindly chill out with the honey stuff. It's not really a professional way to speak, but I am grateful to you for informing me about this issue. You're right, I do not deserve it. I don't even understand what I did wrong to warrant an investigation, or why anyone would want to investigate me. However, I really want to thank you for letting me know."
Scotty said graciously.
"No problem, Scotty,"
Johnny said sincerely.
"You cannot blame me for trying to get a little attention from you.
Johnny cracked a smile.
However, in all seriousness, you need to be watchful. Those two do not like you specifically, and they hate black people in general."
Johnny's last statement did not surprise Scotty one bit. For a moment, he almost considered asking him to go to HR to help him file a complaint against the CEO and the security director, but he knew that filing a complaint would be the equivalent of career suicide. He needed to remain calm for now and deliberately plan out his next move. Scotty thanked Johnny profusely and proceeded to formulate his strategy. After bidding Johnny farewell, Scotty started thinking that it was time he looked for another job. A new hospital was just what he needed to start his life over. He could not bear the thought of being around these racists every single day. However, Scotty hated the thought of abandoning all the hard work and time that he had dedicated to this hospital. It would be a shame to let the racists win. Scotty Allen was confused. Things at St. Mark's Baptist Hospital were becoming crazy, and he did not want any part of it. On the one hand, Scotty knew that staying here would be a great challenge for him, personally and professionally. On the other hand, he was open to finding a new job as a last resort. Scotty Allen had some serious thinking to do, and he had to do it fast. Meanwhile, on the other side of the hospital, mailroom supervisor Victor Diaz was having issues of his own. It had been brought to his attention that Tracy Kites, one of the mailroom's most dedicated volunteers, had fallen asleep in the hospital again. The matter had been brought to his attention by other members of the mailroom staff. Tracy was discovered sleeping in the locker room by another employee. It did not look as though she had fallen asleep randomly, since she was fast asleep in a sleeping bag. The hospital did not provide sleeping bags, so it clearly belonged to Tracy. The sad part was that this was not the first time something like this had happened. The entire staff felt empathy for her because she was so elderly, and she had mentioned numerous times that she had no family in the area. This knowledge made them overlook incidents when she was discovered sleeping around the hospital because they felt bad for her. However, as the incidents started to happen more frequently, the staff decided that Victor Diaz needed to be informed. Tracy would tell them stories about how she had lost her last existing sibling to a bad car accident years ago. She mentioned how she was the youngest of all her siblings. Still, until her retirement, Tracy did what she could while she was still physically able to work. Tracy would send money to financially support her nieces and nephews as frequently as she could. Once she retired, she only had her pension to live on. Her nieces and nephews never contacted her unless it was for financial gains. When she died, all Tracy would leave behind were memories of her charitable deeds. She did not have much in the way of material possessions. The money she received from her pension was barely enough for Tracy to keep necessities on the table. She simply could not afford to send her nieces and nephews any more money. When they headed off to college, Tracy was completely shut out of their lives, so Tracy Kites was left alone. She had not spoken to any family members in years. The entire mailroom staff was concerned about Tracy's well-being. It was disconcerting to see an elderly lady sleeping in random places in a hospital in a sleeping bag. The mailroom was bustling with staff members when Tracy slipped inside the room. She had rolled up her sleeping bag tightly in her arms and shoved it inside her locker, trying to hide it to the best of her abilities. Victor and others noticed her movements. However, they discreetly looked away and pretended not to see anything. Eventually, Victor handed each of the staff their duties for the day, and they left the mailroom. Tracy hung back waiting for her assignment. Victor had done this on purpose so that the two of them could be alone when he had this conversation with her.
Tracy, before I give you the mail assignment for today, I need to ask you something,
he said, tentatively.
Yes, dear.
Tracy asked, smiling in her trademark manner. If she was nervous, she did not let it show.
First, I want to tell you how valuable you are to all of us in the mailroom here at St. Mark's. We would be upset if you were unhappy and bothered about something.
He looked at Tracy to see if her face would give away her emotional state, but she had the same vacant smile on her face. Victor decided to press on.
Tracy, are you having any difficulties in your personal life that I need to be aware of?
Victor asked earnestly.
I only asking because you are the best volunteer in my department, and I care about your well-being.
Victor asked, his voice full of concern. Tracy, maintaining that vacant smile, wrung her hands together and started to explain the situation, as if what she was doing was completely reasonable.
Oh no, Victor. I only sleep in the locker room sometimes. Like when I'm working late or when the metro buses have stopped running.
She shuffled her feet.
At my age, I could not walk 5 miles to the senior shelter alone. I walk around the hospital all day, delivering mails and packages to every corner of this building. I'm simply too tired by the time my shift ends. I'm getting older, and this old lady cannot move as fast as she used to.
Tracy said, chuckling. Victor looked at her kindly.
Tracy, I understand not being able to walk home once the metro transportation route has started running for today. However, you cannot sleep in the locker room. It has been brought to my attention that you have been sleeping in there several nights this year already, ever since you started volunteering at this hospital.
Tracy's eyes flashed angrily.
Please don't worry, Victor.
She said coldly.
If I happen to work late again, I'll find a way home.
Victor could see her face was flushed and her voice was trembling with anger.
Hey, Tracy, please do not get upset.
Victor said soothingly.
As I said, the staff and I really care about your well-being. we have all chipped in some money and gotten you a prepaid car worth $500. This should help you with any transportation problems. I know we do not pay you for time and effort, but they are invaluable to us. This is the least we can do to show you our appreciation.
He hands her the prepaid credit card, and Tracy burst into tears.
Thank you so much.
She said tearfully.
But I cannot take this kind of gesture from you folks. I volunteered to work because I love helping others. I do not have a lot of time left on this earth, and this is one way I can make myself right in the eyes of the Lord.
Tracy sniffled, dabbing her eyes with a tiny lace handkerchief that she pulled out of her pocket.
Lord knows I'm not perfect, but my heart is always in the right place.
She sobbed.
God is good all the time.
And all the time, God is good.
Victor finished for her.
I hear you. Tracy, do not be like that. Please take the prepaid credit card. Also, if you could be a friend and never mention this to human resources, it would be best for all of us.
Victor laughed.
We might be breaking some damn volunteer policy, but nevertheless, we take care of our own.
He said warmly, squeezing Tracy's hand.
You know?
Victor said conspiratorially.
The hospital is making new policies every day. We keep this between us.
He winked at Tracy. Crying with joy, Tracy takes the credit card, thanking him profusely. She gives him a long hug before heading out of the building. Victor smiled, because as she passed, he could swear he could hear her whistling again.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you had fun or picked up anything from this episode, please assist us by hitting the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. You can also comment and share our content. These small things really help our channel and mean a lot to us. Also, special thanks to our Patreon supporters. You guys are the heartbeat of this channel, and we can't thank you enough for being so generous. If you would like to join our Patreon community, please click on the link below. You can contribute as little as $5 per month. You can get all kinds of perks. You can even buy merchandise of your favorite characters at our shop store. Click on the link provided below. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, remember you are cherished by us. So be kind and know that we consider you as family.